Arrogant billionaire screams at Waitress, but her response leaves him speechless. The crystal chandeliers cast dancing shadows across the marble floors of Le Grand Palais, the city's most exclusive restaurant. Tonight, like every night, only the wealthy and powerful could afford to dine here. But none were as wealthy, or as demanding, as Marcus Sterling. Before we begin, tell us your city in the comments. We love connecting with viewers worldwide. Hit like and subscribe if you're ready for stories that change perspectives. Your support fuels our mission to share extraordinary human experiences. Now, prepare for a story you'll never forget. Marcus adjusted his $5,000 watch and scanned the restaurant with cold, calculating eyes. At 38, he had built a tech empire worth $12 billion. He owned private jets, luxury yachts, and penthouse apartments in every major city. More importantly, he believed everyone around him existed solely to serve his needs. Table 12 needs immediate attention. He barked into his phone, though he was already seated. And make sure my usual server isn't working tonight. Last time, she took 30 seconds too long with my water. The restaurant manager, Pierre, hurried over with nervous sweat beading on his forehead. Mr. Sterling, welcome back. Your table is ready, and I've assigned our finest server too. I don't want your finest, Marcus interrupted, not bothering to look up from his phone. I want perfection. One mistake, and I'll make sure this place loses its 5-star rating by tomorrow morning. Pierre nodded frantically and signaled to a young woman across the dining room. Sarah Chen had been working at Le Grand Palais for 6 months, saving every tip to pay for her medical school tuition. At 24, she had already faced more challenges than most people twice her age. But she carried herself with quiet dignity, treating every customer with genuine respect. Good evening, Mr. Sterling, Sarah said with a warm smile as she approached his table. I'm Sarah, and I'll be taking care of you tonight. Can I start you with water? Room temperature. Not cold, not warm. Exactly room temperature, Marcus snapped without looking up. And I want it in a crystal glass, not whatever cheap glasses you people usually use. Sarah's smile never faltered. Of course, sir. I'll make sure it's perfect. She returned within 2 minutes with the water, served in the restaurant's finest crystal. Marcus took a sip, made a disgusted face, and slammed the glass down so hard that water splashed onto the white tablecloth. This is ice cold, he shouted, his voice echoing across the silent restaurant. Every head turned toward their table. Are you deaf? I specifically said room temperature. Sarah remained calm, her voice steady. I apologize, Mr. Sterling. Let me get you another glass right away. No. Marcus stood up, his face red with rage. This is exactly the kind of incompetence I expect from people like you. Do you have any idea who I am? I could buy this entire restaurant with the money I spend on lunch. The dining room fell completely silent. Other patrons watched in shock as one of the world's richest men screamed at a young waitress over a glass of water. Sarah stood perfectly still, her hands clasped in front of her, waiting for his tantrum to end. I am Marcus Sterling, he continued, his voice growing louder. I revolutionized cloud computing. I employ 50,000 people. Presidents call me for advice. And you're nothing. You're a nobody serving food to your betters because you're too stupid to do anything else. Pierre started to approach, but Sarah held up a gentle hand to stop him. She looked directly into Marcus's eyes, her expression compassionate rather than angry. You're absolutely right, Mr. Sterling, she said quietly, her voice carrying clearly across the silent restaurant. You are incredibly successful, and I am just a waitress. But I'd like to share something with you, if I may. Marcus, surprised by her calm response, fell silent for a moment. Sarah continued, her voice growing stronger. 3 years ago, my little brother Tommy was diagnosed with a rare form of leukemia. The doctors said he had 6 months to live. My family couldn't afford the experimental treatment he needed. She paused, looking around the restaurant at the captivated audience. I dropped out of medical school and took every job I could find. Waitressing, cleaning offices, walking dogs, anything to raise money for his treatment. I worked 18 hours a day for 2 years. I sold everything I owned. I moved back in with my parents to save on rent. Marcus shifted uncomfortably, his anger beginning to fade into something else. Last month, Sarah's voice began to waver with emotion. Tommy rang the bell at the children's hospital. He's been cancer-free for 6 months. He starts middle school next week, and he wants to be a doctor when he grows up, just like his big sister. She reached into her apron pocket and pulled out a small, worn photograph. It showed her hugging a smiling 12-year-old boy wearing a baseball cap. "You see, Mr. Sterling, you're right. I am just a waitress. But I'm also a sister who would do anything to save her brother's life. I'm a daughter who works 3 jobs to help her parents pay their mortgage. I'm a future doctor who will spend her career helping children like Tommy." The restaurant remained completely silent. Marcus stared at the photograph, then back at Sarah's face. "You have $12 billion, Sarah said softly, and that's truly impressive. But Tommy taught me that the real measure of wealth isn't what you own. It's what you're willing to give up for the people you love. By that measure, I'm the richest person in this room." She tucked the photograph back into her pocket and looked at Marcus with genuine kindness. "Now, would you like me to get you that room temperature water?" For the first time in years, Marcus Sterling was completely speechless. The words he had used to define his worth, his money, his power, his achievements, suddenly felt hollow. He looked around the restaurant at the faces watching him, then back at Sarah's patient, forgiving expression. Slowly, Marcus sat back down. When he finally spoke, his voice was barely above a whisper. I think I'd like to hear more about Tommy, if you don't mind." Sarah smiled, the same warm, genuine smile she had greeted him with. "I'd be happy to share his story with you, Mr. Sterling." As she pulled up a chair, Marcus realized that in all his years of accumulating wealth and power, he had never felt as small, or as eager to learn, as he did in that moment. Want more inspiring stories about human connection and unexpected life lessons? Subscribe to Beyond Yesterday's YouTube channel for weekly stories that will change how you see the world around you.